Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone, all dear devotees. We are meeting on 23rd February 2023 and to continue our discussion on Bhagavad Gita. I'm truly sorry that I couldn't make this Bhagavatam class. I had some other important commitment. So today I'm so excited to meet all of you. Okay, to do a detailed studies of Bhagavad Gita chapter 9. All right. So before we start, let's do our invocation prayer. If those people who knows this prayer, you can unmute yourself and sing along. And those who are not, maybe you just can close your eyes, meditate that your spiritual master is sitting right in front of you. Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada is sitting right in front of you. And if you have taken initiation, just imagine that your spiritual master, His Holiness, whoever, sitting right in front of you and accepting your prayer. And in your mind, just think about you are having a flower. You're having a flower and you're offering the flower unto the lotus feet of the spiritual master. All right. So as you know that we are invoking benediction and mercy from the Guru Parampara. We are not only chanting our spiritual master and also Prabhupada, but we are chanting the entire Guru Parampara. All right. So what I will do, do you have any one of you know what is Guru Parampara? Have you, anyone of you seen any Guru Parampara photos? Anyone?
Don't know, Prabhu. Sorry, Prabhu, we don't know.
You have not seen, eh? Okay. Without the mercy of Guru Parampara, it is almost impossible for us to achieve perfection. Okay. Okay. I think I got one here. Let me see. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Oh, it's too small. 1 second. Disciplic succession. Image. Oh, they're selling stores. Okay, this is the only one I can get. Why I can't find it. Okay, never mind. I just share like this. Maybe you can have a look. Can you see this?
Yes, Prabhu, can.
All right. So I will highlight the thing. Okay, I highlight this thing. Oh, this is not so clear. Okay. So what do you do? Just meditate that while I'm reciting this, the Mangala Charan, okay, to invoke the benediction from the spiritual master. So just in your mind, just concentrate, just think about offering a what do you call ghee lamp. Sorry, flower. Can you all do that? All right. First, this is the Guru Parampara. Second, this is the Goswami that we're going to invoke our benediction. And number 3 is, this is the Panchatattva. All right. So this is number 1. I'll put it here. So this is 1 here. And this is number 2. And this is number 3. Okay. Shall we start? So what do you do? Just in your mind, just concentrate Just think, meditate that you are having a very nice, beautiful, a fragrant flower, and you are offering the flower to their lotus feet to invoke the benediction. Is that okay? Everyone okay?
Okay, Prabhu.
All right. So, okay. So I've just put here. So this is Prabhupada and this is, so whenever I point, so you know where to concentrate. All right. Okay. Now we do a general invocation. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobistam Stapidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagarjadam Shaha Gana Raghunathan Vidam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savaduta Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Saha Gana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vidamscha. Okay, now meditate on your spiritual master if you're initiated. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimadi Jaya Pataka Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Namacharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradaine Gaura Kada Damadaya Nagara Gramatarine. Okay, now we're going to do Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasa Chidesatarine. Now you can offer your flower in your mind unto the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. Now we're going to invoke benediction from our grandfather Guru, great grandfather, His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Tinamine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaye Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Viknanadayine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryo Jvala Premadya Sri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namustute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupa Nuga Virudha Patidanta Dvanta Harine Pushpanjali. Just okay, offer the flower. Now we are going to Gaura Kishore Das Babaji. Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairakyam Murtaye Vipralambara Sambode Padambu Jayate Namaha. Now you offer your flower. Now we are going to offer obeisances to Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate. Okay, offer your flower. And now here you can see Jagannatha Das Babaji. Gauravir Baba Bhumestvam Nidasa Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Saro Bhauma Sri Jagannatha Yate Namaha. Pushpanjali. Okay, now we're going to offer flower to all the Guru Parampara, all the Vaishnava. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubevacha paditanam pavinebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Okay, now, okay, to Lord Chaitanya. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Garati Se Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavadaram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanto Radha Kanta Namastute Jayatam Suratau Pangur Mama Manda Matirgati Mat Sarvasva Padam Bojau Radha Madana Mohanao Divyat Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadaha Srimat Ratnagara Singha Sanasto Srimat Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prishtalebi Sevya Manosmarami Sriman Rasa Rasarambi Vamsivata Tatastita Karshan Venur Svanir Gopir Gopinata Sri Estuna Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Shari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. Everybody please unmute yourself and chant along 4 times. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama,
Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Rama, Rama
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Krishna,
Rama,
Krishna, 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 Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Krishna, Krishna
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All right, thank you. So, without the benediction from a spiritual master, to achieve, at least to achieve even a drop of devotional service unto the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality, it is almost impossible. All right. So, all right. So today we continue with our Bhagavad Gita discussion. We are doing text 9 right today. Is it text 9? 9,
Yes,
9.
sir.
Text 9, huh? After you did text 8, right? Okay, so okay. So we are continuing our discussion. We are continuing our discussion on chapter 9, Bhagavad Gita, with the title is The Most Confidential Knowledge. Here Krishna is revealing all the confidentiality in his service and how to approach him. All right. So last two verses, we just checked with the last two verses. Verse 7, we said, Sarva Bhutani Kaunteya Prakritim Yanti Mamikam. So, O son of Kunti, at the end of millennium, all right? That means what? What is the end of millennium? Prakritim, nature, Yanti Mamikam, Kalpa Shaye. Kalpa means time. What is the translation here? At the end of millennium, all right? Kalpa. All right? Kalpa means distance, all right? So, Kalpa Shaye. So, that means at the end of the millennium, all material manifestation enter into my nature. That means, or at the end of millennium, at the end of the millennium, all material nature manifestation, all the material manifestation, what will happen? Will enter into my nature. And what is his nature? It goes back into spiritual nature. Everything will absorb into him. All right. And in the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again. So that means after the end of millennium, everything is destroyed. Then again, he creates back again. So it reminds me about the studies that I've been doing, Chaitanya Charitamrita. They said they were sharing about this one of the Prabhupada instruction, Allen Ginsberg. All right, if you know that history, Allen Ginsberg is one of the famous hippies in America. All right, famous hippies. He's a poet and a philosopher. There's hippie philosopher, right? So he asked, your divine grace, what happened after 10,000 years? Right? After 10,000 years, you say this Krishna conscious movement will last 10,000 years. After that, what will happen? You say after that, everything's destroyed. Hare Krishna is finished. All right. At that time, you know what happened? The full sense gratification and meat eating will take over. As you see that now people are becoming more and more gross in their eating habit, right? First, initially, they used to catch the fish, kill it and eat. They take the chicken, kill it and eat. Goat, kill it and eat, all right? And cow, they kill it and eat it. But nowadays, it's becoming more and more gross, right? They are eating a live lobster. They fry the fish live. When they serve, the fish is still jumping, right? They're becoming more and more gross. Even the cows, they don't want to slaughter, right? They don't want to waste any part of the cow. So there's a kind of grinder, big giant grinder. They throw the cow inside, and the cow is grinded alive. All right? It's becoming so gross. People are becoming crazy, all right? So like that, it goes on until the end of millennium. Okay, until after 10,000 years, after everything is over, because the Kali Yuga will last for 432,000 years. So far, 5,000 years have gone. So we have another 5,000 years. After that, the full-blown Kali Yuga will start, right? At that time, you know what will happen? They say there will be more cannibalism, right? They want to eat meat. There'll be no sugar, no honey, no natural resources. They don't have any source of food. They only can rely on meat until they say, okay, this is my child. I can't eat my child. I give my child to you. Give me your child. I'll kill and eat. So it goes into that level, and people are becoming shorter and shorter. All right. So you still have time. So don't think that you're going to start back, because now you have practiced Krishna conscious, even though that you're not practicing it correctly or rightly or whatever, but whatever attempt that we are doing here, we are guaranteed of heavenly kingdom. So once we go to heaven, we stay there for 10,000 years. And by the time we come back, finish. It's full-blown Kali Yuga, right? So it's like that, right? So end of the millennium, Lord Kalki will come. When he comes, he will kill everybody without consideration, right? He will kill everybody without consideration. And after that, when the whole human society has been killed, annihilated, and that's when it goes into 100 years of drought. Sorry, 100 years of drought, then 100 years of rain, flood. So that means there'll be a situation, there will be not even a single living entity, all right, in this place. Then after that, everything destroyed. So then again, you start back. Okay, all this is mentioned in Bhagavatam. Okay, anyway. So that's what it says here. Then after that, it says Prakritim Swam Avastabhya. Okay. Okay. So that means he says here, the whole cosmic order is under me. The whole cosmic order is under me. Under my will, it is automatically manifested. It means at his will, when you just feel like it becomes manifest again and again. And under my will, it is annihilated at the end. All right. All right. So now we're going to go to the text 9. Right. In text 9, na cha mang na cha mang tani karmani ni. Okay, you put the tongue on the cloud and say ni, not ni, ni. All right. Na cha mang tani karmani nibadnanti. Okay, nibadnanti. Okay, nibad. All right. So how are you going to say the nibad? So nibad nanti. Okay, nanti. All right, nanti saya datang, nanti like in Malay, say it right. So nibad nanti danan jaya. Danan jaya. Udasina. Udasina means what? Right? Udasina means sometimes we just like not bothered, right? In Tamil also we use the word udasinam, right? Like you are just like you don't want to take into ears. So udasina, that means in what? Udasina. And how it it says neutral. Udasina what? Udasina what? Asinam. Asinam. See, not she. Asinam. Sa. Sinam. Asinam. Asaktang. Okay. Asaktang teshu. All right. Shu. Let me put your tongue on the clouds. Teshu. Because E means you naturally can pull the raga. So asaktang teshu karmasu. Now here is su. Karmasu. All right. Okay. Nachamang tani karmani nibandhanti dhananjaya udasina yavat asinam asaktang teshu karmasu nachamang tani karmani nibandhanti dhananjaya udasina vadasinam asaktang teshu karmasu nachamang tani karmani nibadranti dhananjaya udasina vat asinam asaktang teshu karmasu. Okay, you would like to try, Prabhu?
Hey, Krishna Prabhu, let me try, Prabhu.
Yeah, sure.
Na chamam tani karmani ibantnanti dhananjaya udasinavat asinam ashaktam teshu karmasu. Hare Krishna
Karmasu.
Prabhu. Karmasu.
All right.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Next. Next who? Nanda Mataji, okay?
Na cha mam tani karmani nibadnanti dhananjaya udasina vat asinam asaktang teshu karmasu.
Very nice. Very nice. Next. I have not heard from Logeswari Raju for so long. How are you, Mataji? I think she's traveling in the train or maybe in the work. All right. Another one more person who would like to try?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, shall I
Okay.
try?
Yes, yes, Mataji, please.
Nachamam tani karmani nibada nandi dananjaya udasina vat asinam ashaktam tesu karmasu.
Okay, you are reading from the book or you're reading from the screen
Reading
here?
from the book.
No wonder all your thing all writing. Because you see, Nachamang Tani Karmani, that's the first paragraph. All right. Then
Yes.
Vibadnanti Dananjaya. Okay, that's second. Because I see that Nachamang Tani Karmani Vibadnanti Dananjaya Udasina. What Asinam? It always open in the book. Anyway, no problem.
Yes, yes, I refer to the book.
Okay. No problem, Logeshwari. No problem. You're working and you're listening. I appreciate your commitment.
Saras here.
Yeah. No. Sarasya, I know. No, because when I just now I called Logesh and she just sent me a message.
Okay,
She's working in a noisy background. Okay.
okay, sorry, Prabhu.
Nachamang tani karmani nibandhanti dhananjaya udasina asinam asaktam teshu karmasu na never cha also mam me tani all those karmani activities nibandhanti bind dhanam jaya oh conqueror of riches. All right, see, when you separate the word, it sounds as dhanam, but when it comes in this kind of a poetic this thing, it comes dhanan. All right, so dhanam jaya, oh conqueror of riches, udasinavad as neutral, asinam situated, asaktam without attraction, teshu for those, karmasu activities. The translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One, oh Dhananjaya, all this work cannot bind me, right? Because you're talking about binding, right? Because now he's doing creating, then after that destroying, then creating. So now Krishna is explaining. He's telling, oh Dhananjaya, all this work cannot bind me. Okay, I am ever detached from all these material activities, seated as though neutral, right? Even though that is in charge of maintaining the material energy, but he is not attached. Okay, so he's telling the work cannot bind me. I'm ever detached from all these material activities. That means he's always detached with these material activities. Seated, that means he's sitting there as though neutral, as though like he's neutral. All right, even though that he's in charge. All right. So now let's look at the purport. One should not think in this connection that the Supreme Personality Godhead has no engagement. So one should not think that in this connection that he got nothing to do, no engagement. Okay. And I get the thing. Right. So one should not think. Okay, a person should not think. All right, that God so has no engagement. That means he got nothing to do. He simply sit there. All right. In his spiritual world, he is always engaged. That means in spiritual world, he is always engaged. We must always remember that. All right. Just imagine we as a common person, even we are fully engaged, even a full-time devotee, even in spiritual life, right? So similarly, Krishna there, he is also engaging in this kind of activity. All right. So now let's see what Brahma Samhita says. Okay, always remember this thing. Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, text 6. When you see all the Brahma Samhita, it only shows chapter 5. 5.1, 5.2, 5.5, 5.30, 5.25. See, why only 5? Why not other numbers? Because the entire Brahma Samhita, which is the oldest Purana, has lost. Okay. When Brahma gets the inspiration from Krishna, first he starts to sing Brahma Samhita, right? And all the works and everything were actually lost. They only Lord Chaitanya only found chapter 5, and chapter 5 is the most important chapter, which explains Krishna, establishing Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Brahma. In chapter 5, text 1, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. Right? Then in between, then after that, it comes to the description of spiritual world. Okay, how that spiritual looks like. Chintamani Pragara Satmasu. Chintamani is a touchstone. Pragara, Pragasam, I mean, it's a glittering. Kalpa, just now you know, you saw the word kalpa. That means as far as I can see, Chintamani Pragara Satmasu, Kalpa Vriksha. At the same time, there's a lot of, it's filled with Kalpa Vriksha tree. Kalpa Vriksha tree means it's a desire fulfilling tree. Laksha Vritesu Surabir Abhipalayandam. It's all full with Surabhi cows. Lakshmi Sahasra. Lakshmi means Lakshmi, the servants, gopis. Sahasra means thousands. Sahasra. So thousands of gopis, Lakshmi Sahasra Sadasa Brahma, Seva Manam. In the mood of Seva. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. All right. So that's why that Brahma, after that, he also explained about this confidential detail about how the spiritual world looks like, and especially like Gayatri Mantra, how according to the Gayatri Mantra, we chant the Gayatri Om, Bur, Bhuva, Swaha, Tat Sat Vitur, Varenium, or Om, where, Bur. All these things is actually the one point in where? In Goloka Vrindavan. All right. It's very interesting. Right. So anyway, so in Brahma Samhita 5.6, what it says? It is stated, Atmaramasya tasyasti prakritya na samagama. That means he says he always involved in his eternal blissful spiritual activity. Right? He's always involved in his eternal blissful spiritual activity. Okay. So in activity, but he has nothing to do with this material activity. All right. He got nothing to do with material activity. What example I can think of? All right. Okay, just let's talk like some politician. All right. He's always involved in his happy life. All right. His party, meeting with some big businessman, all kind of things. Right. Even though that he's been elected as the representative, sometimes he have no time. All right. You have no time for this material activity. All right. Can I use that? I think it's a very wrong example. Anyway, just forget about that example. Anyway, so that means Krishna is always involved in his eternal, blissful spiritual activity. And he got nothing to do with these material activities. So material activities are being carried out. So that means who is managing it? Who's managing it? That means he is being carried out by his different potencies, right? His different types of energy, right? The different potencies. Okay, let's see who's the potencies. Number one, the Lord is always neutral. He is always neutral in the material activity of the created world. He's always what they call neutral. This neutrality is mentioned here with the word Udasinavad. Udasinavad. Although he has control over every minute detail, every small detail of materiality, he has control. He is sitting as if neutral, but he's sitting as if he's neutral. All right. So now let's see who is that different potencies. All right, the different potencies are his different energy, and he have appointed a different person to rule a different department. And the one who set up to rule these different departments are called the Devatas. All right, they are called the Devatas. All right. For instance, you see Lord Kartikeya, Murugan, he's a commander-in-chief. He's in charge of the army. Right. When we look at this Kubera is a banker. Right. He's the Lord of wealth. Right. Then we talk about Mother Saraswati. Mother Saraswati is in charge of the education department. He's education minister. So that means whatever portfolio this kind of Devata have taken, they will become one of it. Right. Like Mother Saraswati always with Veena, with the Vedas, with the Japa, with the beads. You see the beads that you'll be holding in one hand. Right. And you see that what they call Yamaraj. Yamaraj is the one in charge of punishing the sinner. He's always with the kind of pasakaira, right? It's like a cowboy kind of rope, right? So that means this is all called, that means he's managing the entire universe by giving the task into different personalities. All right. And they are the one who are running the show. All right. But now it's just like a king. Sometimes when you see the king, all right, he will be sitting at home. He'll be so much engaged with his children, wife, family, or maybe with his ministers, or maybe with his associates. But once he go back, he'll have party among his people, foreign dignitaries, everyone. He'll be having gala time. he'll be paying attention to them, right? But the citizen, who rules the citizen? The ministers, all right, the chief ministers, and the member of legislature, this MLAs, all right, like Adun, MP. Under MP got 3 or 4 Adun, and under Adun they got a what, Ketua Kampung or something like Punghulu. So under he got few. That means some more rather he break all the thing into hierarchy, and all these people around is controlled by his representative. But all that the representative is managing this universal affair on his behalf. On his behalf, all right. But the one who dealing with you is not the king, his representative or his potency. Okay. Okay. Now let's look at the example. Can be given of a high court judge sitting on his bench. All right. By his order, so many things happening. Okay. By his order, so many things happening. Someone being hanged, someone being put into jail, someone is awarded a huge amount of wealth. Right or not? The judge giving verdict. Right? Like some people get hanged, right? Get sentenced to death. Some people being put into jail. Someone is awarded with huge amount of wealth. They win the battle. They get this thing. But still, he is neutral. Even though there is engaged, but he is neutral. He has nothing to do with all that gain or loss. He got nothing to do. Similarly, the Lord is always neutral. Although he and his hand is in every sphere of activity. In Vedanta Sutra, Canto 2, Chapter 1, Text 34, it is stated, Vaishamya Naigranye Na. He is not situated in the dualities of this material world. He is not situated in the dualities. And what is the dualities? Like heat and cold, happy and suffering, or happy and sad. Everything got 2, right? So it's so okay. So it's not this thing. He is transcendental. That means he's beyond. He's transcendental or to these dualities. No, he's attached to the creation and annihilation. That means he's not attached to the creation or annihilation of this material world. All right. So far, do you have any questions? Right. Okay. We move on. Okay. So in this material world, the living entities take their different forms. Right. Annihilation. Okay. So the living entities take their different forms in the various species of life. Okay. How? According to their past deeds. And the Lord doesn't interfere with them. So the Lord doesn't interfere. So that means whatever things that we want are granted. Right? Whatever things that we want. Correct? It takes a lifetime of hankering. Right? It's take a lifetime of hankering, working so hard. I really want this. I really want this kind of what do you call wanting something. Okay, like example, those people are working in this. As I said, those who are like animal lovers, right? They go to the jungle and try to save that monkeys and all these things, right? So they dedicate their whole life into that, right? Some people are doing that. That day I saw that someone was doing the research about this fish. It seemed they found a fish which is they thought long extinct. And you're so excited, there was a big write-up about it, right? So that means they engaged their whole life doing research in that. So similarly, at the time of death, they just simply remember that activity they've done, and Krishna will simply fulfill the thing through his potency. All right, and Krishna will never interfere with them. All right, this is not only happened to karmis; it also happened to the devotee. Right, like Bharat Maharaj, such a great king, right? But he got attached to the deer. When he got so attached to the deer, when he died, he was still thinking about the deer. He died, even though he's such a great Mahajan, great devotee, right? But because his attachment to the deer, the next birth he have taken birth as the deer, right? And even though he's such a great devotee, Krishna never interferes and says, "Never mind, I give you some discount," right? It's not that way. Okay, so he doesn't interfere with this king. Okay, now let's look at text 10. Maya Yakshena Prakritihi Suyate Sachara Charam Hetunanena Kaunteya Jagat Vipari Vartate. Maya, by me. Adhyakshena, the superintendents. Okay, just look at this, Maya. So you must be very careful how we're going to chant. All right. That's why Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita is very perfect with all these marking. Okay. Maya means illusion. Maya means me. You see, right? So Maya, by me, Adhyakshena, by superintendence, Prakritihi, material nature, Suyate, manifest, Sa, both, Chara Acharam, the moving and the non-moving, Hetuna, for the reason, Anena, this, Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, Jagat, the cosmic manifestation, Vipari Vartate, is working. Translation: the material nature, which is one of my energy, is working under my direction. This is chapter 1, text 10. Okay. So it says, the material nature, which is one of my energy. That means what we can understand from here. Okay, let's highlight these some words here. Okay. Okay, now let's see. This material nature. Okay, material nature. And what Krishna says, which is one of my energies. So that means Krishna is omnipotent. He has so many varieties of energy. And this material nature is only one of his energy. Okay. Now he says, he's working under my direction. O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Right? Moving means like us. Non-moving means like the trees. And the trees are all non-moving. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again and again and again and again. So let's think about it, right? Before we go to the purpose, just try to meditate on the translation, the verse. How long are we going to go around this kind of transmigration again and again and again? In one creation, right? In one creation, right? When during the day of Brahma, when Brahma goes to bed, everything gets annihilated. Then again, when next day when you wake up, again is created. So that means, like that, we have gone through 365 days times 100. That means what? 365, 3,000, 36,500 days. All right? 36,500 Brahma days. Okay? We have gone through. Okay. After he dies at the age of 100, there will be a total annihilation. Total annihilation. Right? Until the next Brahma comes, that's when the big sweep will happen. Big sweep. Right? The big sweep. Everything's get annihilated. The upper and lower planet. In between, when you look at Brahma's birth, I mean, this thing, when he wakes up in the morning, all right, he created. By the time he goes to bed, everything is destroyed. What destroys? The earth downwards. There's only 3 places are saved. That upper 3, Satya Yoga, Satya, what is that below Satya? Janaloka, Tapaloka. Okay, Tapaloka, Janaloka, Satya Loka. Only these 3, and others are all destroyed. Okay, so when this kind of destruction happens, everything destroyed. Then again, when he wakes up next day, everything is created. So that means from say like Brahma works for 12 hours a day, right? He works on 12-hour shift, example. Say he wakes up at a 6 o'clock and he start to go through it, and from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Say assume after that he goes to bed. So that means in one day of Brahma, how many times the earth has been created and destroyed? Right? That means there's a Satya Loka. After Satya Loka, then comes Dwapara Yuga, then comes Treta Yuga, then comes Kali Yuga. Destroy, again, start back again. Destroy, start back again. Destroy, start back again. Like that, we have gone through so many kalpas, so many kinds of, and just imagine in one cycle, how many million times you have taken birth. Right? Just say, okay, in Kali Yuga, we have 432,000 years. Example. Okay, 432,000 years. Assume you live 100 years. Okay, in this 400,000 years, how many times you actually take birth? Anybody good in maths? Anyone? Say like you have for the next 400,000 years, you're going to take birth as a human being. And in each life, you're going to live for 100 years. So how many years? How many times you have taken birth? So I just say 400,000 and no need to confuse you. How many years? Anybody home?
4,000.
4,000 births. In that 4,000 birth, you born and die, and in that 4,000 birth, you take, you go through all kind of suffering, the duality, heat and cold, right? You go through the three mode of material nature, right? And that also, if you're lucky, if you're taken birth as a what they call as a human. What happened if you take birth as a say like, okay, elephant can live up to 50 years, right? Elephant can live up to 50 years. Imagine if you're going to take birth as elephant, that means you have taken 8,000 births, right? Right. What happened if you take birth as a cow? The cow live up to 20 years. What happened if you take birth as a chicken? The chicken is a lifespan is around 3 years, right? What happened if they're like a dog, 10 years, cat, 10 years? Imagine what happened if you become like the moth, the thing that flies at night. That one night is the entire yuga, right? When the night comes, it'll take birth, it'll create its family, it creates its offspring, and by the time sunshine, it dies. Right? One night lifespan, only one night. Imagine. So it's not something which is very interesting to be here. All right, to be here. And two, how that we're going to get rid of this place, and that is what is the actual teaching of Bhagavad Gita. All right, like some of you have joined halfway, that means you're seeing halfway. So what I suggest to you, read the introduction alone at least 10 times before you go into Bhagavad Gita. Read the introduction. It's 30 pages, I know. Study word by word. You will understand what to expect in Bhagavad Gita. All right. Okay, now let's look at this. So that means it's a manifest and created, annihilated again and again and again and again. All right. It's not worth it. After all, to wait for 4,000 years is not something which is okay. You still have time. Try to finish your business, this, next, or the coming birth. Okay, don't wait long. Okay. Anyway, Krishna has already selected you. That's why you're here. All right. This is, I'm not speaking from being sentiment. Right? Sometimes they think, these spiritual fellows are all sentimentalists. No, we are not sentimentalists. We are talking based on the Vedic conclusion. Right? Even to chant the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shari Gora Bhaktaranda, just to chant and appreciate this mantra, it took you 7 cycles. Every 7 cycle only Lord Chaitanya will appear. Can you imagine? Satya Yuga, Dvaparatra, Kali Yuga, 1 cycle. Then Satya Yuga, Dvaparatra, 2nd cycle, 3rd cycle, 4th cycle, 5th cycle, 6th, 7th cycle he'll come. Then he goes, then again, now he has already gone, around 500 years ago, he has already left. So you have to wait for the next 7 cycle if you miss this opportunity. Right? So that's why it's all mentioned in the Shastras. It's all mentioned with lots of scientific evidence. All right? So anyway, so it is clearly stated here that the Supreme Lord, although aloof from the activities of the material world, remains the Supreme Director. The Supreme Lord is the supreme will and the background of this material manifestation. But the management is being conducted by material nature. But that means the management, okay, the one who are managing it is conducted by the material nature. Krishna also states in Bhagavad Gita that all the living entities in different forms and species, what he says, I am the father. And what type of father? The father gives seeds to the womb of the mother for the child. And similarly, the Supreme Lord, by his mere glance. All right, okay. So that means what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I am the seed-giving father. Yes or not? Anyone can remember the verse? I think it's in chapter 15, 16, 17. I think 16 or 17, if I'm not mistaken. And Krishna says that I am the seed-giving father. All right, here the explanation. The father gives seeds into the womb of the mother for the child, right? And similarly, the Supreme Lord, by his mere glance, just by looking, staring, injects all the living entities into the womb of the material nature. All right, he injected everything into the material nature and they come out in their different forms and species according to their last desire, and activity. All right, now let's look at this, mark this word. Okay, different forms and species according to their last desire and activities. What is their last desires? Right? If you're going to desire of going back, now you see the photo that behind me, right? The beautiful Radha Krishna. Just look at that, how beautiful, right? I'm so mesmerized. That means you just look at the photo and you just can remember this thing itself, you'll go back, right? And what is the last desire that you have? Okay. It's quite funny that spiritual desire comes after frustration. You have to be frustrated with the material situation, right? We have seen so many things happening, right? People are working, suddenly this thing, like some people will have a very successful life, but a screwed up family. Some people will have a wonderful family, but zero career life, right? So, and they may have desire. So there may some people say, oh, I have to work hard, whatever. What is that last desire that you had? Right? And you get the body accordingly. So if you're going to desire of being associate, a confidential associate of Sri Radha Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan, you will go there. Oh, I prefer to be with Lord Narayana to chant Suprabhadam. You'll go to Vaikuntha Loka, right? So, if you feel like singing that what mantra is that? Three Mrityunja, what they call Mrityunja mantra and all this, you'll go to Kailash, right? You go to Kailash. So according to what is your desire, you will go, right? But if the desire becomes wrong, right? Like Mahadev is still wanting to become the prime minister. He's still thinking about creating. His desire is so much in this Malaysia, right? So where will he end up? He'll definitely come back to this place, but he can come back in any type of species. Depends on what kind of mode of nature he is. All right. Okay. Anyway, we don't need to go into that detail. So, okay, all these living entities, although born under the glance of the Supreme Lord, has their different bodies according to their past deeds, all right, and desires, past deeds and also desires, right? So the Lord is not directly attached to the material creation. He simply glances over the material nature. Material nature is thus activated and everything is created immediately. This also we'll study in Srimad Bhagavatam, the creation, right? How that the Mahalakshmi, Mother Lakshmi will appear, her shadow become that Yoga Maya and become Mahamaya, right? And in between Lord Shiva, and in between that glance, she become pregnant and impregnate. All these things are in Bhagavatam, all right? So if you really can't wait for the class to go there, please read your Bhagavatam daily. You'll come back, you come to that. I won't tell you where. So you read everything, this thing accordingly. Maybe sooner or later, maybe in another one or two cantos, you'll find that. It's very interesting. Okay. Because he glanced over material nature, there is undoubtedly activity on the part of the Supreme Lord. But he has nothing to do with manifestation of the material world directly. The example is given in the Smriti. When there's a fragrant flower, okay. See, when there is a fragrant flower before someone, the fragrance is touched by the smelling power of a person. All right. So do you all understand this? Right? He says, when there is a fragrant flower, that means you see one flower which is so fragrant. Okay, if at all, like you have Pavalamali, if you have Pavalamali, a plant in your house, at night it blooms. And the whole neighborhood will be having so much of fragrance. Smells good. I have one tree in my house. At night, you just go and sit there, or you don't, not under the tree, but just near the tree. Whenever the breeze blows, you sit there, is such a beautiful aroma. All right, it just spread. So what he says, when there is a fragrant flower before someone, that means if the thing is before me, the fragrant, that means the smell, the fragrance is touched by the smelling power. That means the smell is captured by my nose. Yes or not? So they say, wow, the smell touched my nose, all right? That means I sense that smell, okay? Yet, the smelling and the flower, that means the smelling and the flowers are detached from one another. You understand this or not? So that means my nose and the flower is detached. The flower is that side, the nose is here, right? It's not the nose is going to stuck to the flower, right? You all understand or not? Okay. How many of you don't understand this? You all understand?
Understand, Prabhu.
Okay, great. So that means you know, all right? All right. So that means, okay. So, and the flower are detached from one another. There is a similar connection between the material world and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, all right. Okay. Where is it? Yes, nothing. Okay. Create a glance. There's a connection between the world and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, has nothing to do with this material world, but he creates his glance and ordain. Right? In summary, material nature without superintendence, that means material nature without any kind of superintendence, any kind of person in charge of the Supreme Person cannot do anything. There is some superintendent, right? There's someone have to look after it. Yet the Supreme Personality is detached from all material activity. Right? All right, let's look at 11. Avajananti mam muda. Okay, please memorize this verse. This is another interesting verse. All right. This is the verse that memorize in the sense, okay, why you need to memorize this verse? Not to debate with others, but for your own assurance and your own, you can count your blessing, right? You can count your blessing. That means you can realize how fortunate are you that you know this thing, right? So this is for your own assurance and own this thing, all right? But please, if you're not ready, do not talk about this to anyone, all right? But this is for your own satisfaction. Okay, text 11, one of the important texts. Madhuramon Prabhu,
Yes, Prabhu.
this is one of the texts will come out in your Bhakti Sastri.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Avajananti ma muda manushim tanum ashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Right? Maybe we all can chant together. If you want to unmute yourself, you can unmute. If you want to chant while muted, it's okay. But please join me. Okay? Avajananti. Okay, just follow me. Avajananti mang muda
Muda
manushim
manushim
tanum ashritam
tanum ashritam
parang bhavam ajananto
param bhavam ajananto
mama bhuta maheshwaram.
mama bhuta maheshwaram.
Okay, now let's do this. Avajananti mang muda
Vajananti mahmuda
manushim tanum ashritam
manushim tanum ashritam
parang bhavam ajananto
param bhavam ajananto
mama bhuta maheshwaram.
mama bhuta maheshwaram.
Avajananti mang muda
Avanti
manushim tanum ashritam
manushim tanum ashritam
parang bhavam ajananto
param
mama
bhavam ajananto
bhuta maheshwaram.
mama bhuta maheshwaram.
All right, just always remember text 9, chapter 9, text 11. Always remember chapter 9, text 11. All right, here see what Krishna says. Avajananti. Avajananti means deride. All right, deride. Right. So avajananti means deride. Mam, me. Mudaha, foolish men. In Tamil we call muttal, right? Mudda. Okay, mudda. So mudda, foolish men. Manusim, in human form. Manusya. Right? Manusim, in human form. Tanum, a body. Ashritam, assuming. Param, transcendental. Bhavam, nature. Ajananta, not knowing. Mama, my. Bhuta, of everything that be. Maha Ishwaram, the supreme proprietor. Okay. Okay. Now, this is going to be a very long verse. Right? Okay. Okay, I think we can read in half an hour, no problem. Okay, now let's do this. So the translation is, full deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord and of all that be. So here, let's look at this verse. Again in translation. Avajananti, derived. Mam, me. There's a very straightforward. Mam means me in Sanskrit. Muda, foolish man. Mudaha, mutal. Manushim, who? Muda, manushim. That means the most foolish man or foolish in the form of a human form. All right. Okay. Foolish man. Manushim in a human form. Tanum, a body. Ashritam, assuming. Param, transcendental. Bhavam, nature. So that means we see this word param bhavam, transcendental nature. Okay. Ajananta, not knowing. Mama, my. Bhuta, everything that be. Maha Ishwaram, the supreme proprietor. So now what we can understand from here, Bhagavad Gita is the book where Krishna himself declaring himself as the supreme personality of God. Right? Sometimes they ask, did Bhagavad Gita tell you that? Krishna சொன்னார் அவர்தான் கடவுள். Yes, he said that very clearly. So one of the things is 9/11. Right? He says that that means not knowing, that means the fools, that means the fool derides me. That means when I descend in the human form. So when Krishna appeared in the human form, everybody thought he's another human being with mystic power. Right? They do not know my transcendental nature as the supreme Lord of all that be, Maheshwaram. Maha Ishwaram. Maha means supreme. Ishvara means controller, right? Or proprietor, right? So that he says, fool derides me when I descend in the form of you. So when people start to laugh at Krishna and all this, of course, you just remember this thing, Avajananti ma muda, manushim tanum ashritam. So this is our commitment, that we try to somehow or other present this thing very scientifically, pleasing to the ears, to convince them that to take up this devotional service, which is the one and only way that we can get out from this transmigration of birth and death. But here in chapter 9, under this confidential knowledge, Krishna says, who derides me when I descend in the human form, they do not know my transcendental nature as the supreme Lord of all that be. Okay, now let's look at the first paragraph. From the other explanation of previous verses in this chapter, okay, from the other explanation of this previous verse in this chapter, that means chapter 9, it is clear that Supreme Personality Godhead, although appearing like a human being, is not a common man. Okay, is not a common man. The personality of Godhead who conducts the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the complete cosmic manifestation of what? That means he's doing creation, maintenance, and annihilation of complete cosmic manifestation. The entire manifestation cannot be a human being. He can never be a human being, because human being, we have limitation, right? I only can talk maybe for 2 hours, maximum 3 hours, 4 hours, that's all. I cannot go on talking for hours, 5, 6 hours, 10 hours, cannot. Right? Maybe 1, 2 days I can skip my sleep, but now I cannot go on not sleeping for days. All right. Even how wonderful the food, I only can eat up to that one level. That is the human being. Human is limited. So when you're talking about creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this complete cosmic manifestation, cannot be a human being. Yet there are many foolish men who consider Krishna merely a powerful man and nothing more. Right? So there are many foolish people, especially in India. Very sad situation in India. Because in India, it's a situation we can talk anything nonsense, really. Right? And when you look at all these atheistic people, they all laugh at Krishna, calling him just a powerful man or with some kind of names, right? Very tarnishing his image. Sometimes they say that all this doesn't exist. But funnily, they do not go and criticize other religions. They only criticize Hinduism. Why? Why not? You go and talk about other religion. Sure or not, you can have Mary for. Sure or not, you have got raised from the date. They don't dare to speak. Right? From there itself, you know how hypocrite are they. Right? And not only that, like some people, like Indians also, Hindus also, do not want to, they're also ashamed with their culture. Right? And of course, there's a big outcry in India, especially even in Malaysia, the conversion law. Many people are simply converting to other religion. I say, why you care? Don't worry. Here is converting to other religion, but there, all over the world, all the Westerners are coming into Sanatan Dharma. He's coming to ISKCON, Hare Krishna. So they are more pious. I mean, it just worked like that. I mean, everything terbalik, right? Everything became upside down. That's all. But all these things here. So that means he says that many foolish men consider Krishna as merely a powerful man and nothing more. And I'm very happy. Dr. Tinish came out with this thing, the thematic studies, especially with the Tirukural and the DMK idiots, right? Who say that God doesn't exist, all these kind of nonsense things. All right. Anyway, actually, he's the original supreme personality. It is confirmed in Brahma Samhita again. Remember the verse just now? I said 5.1. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Sarva Karana Karanam. It's the cause of all causes, right? And he's the original supreme personality of God. He's the supreme Lord. There are many Ishvara. Okay, now let's look at this Ishvara. Sometimes we become very confused. Ishvara. There are many Ishvara. Ishvara means controller. And one appears greater than another. That means it's okay. In the ordinary management affair, of the we find some official or director, and above him there are secretary, and above, okay, minister, and above him is president. Okay, example. When you see a business, okay, you see the chairman is the Ishvara of the entire thing. Right? Under him, there are what they call directors of every department. Okay, we don't talk about director, we call CEO, COO, CMO, CFO, technology, CTO, Chief Technology Officer, Chief Management Officer, Chief Accounting Officer, CAO, COOs, Chief Operating Officer, Chief Executive Officer. That means all of these people are in charge of one department. So the COO, CMO, CAO, and all these people are Ishvara for that department. So under that department, we are talking about we're talking about this what they call this another department. Okay, then under him is a GM, general manager, under this one department, and that general manager under him got 4 managers. So that means that general manager is the Ishvara for that 4 managers, and that manager under him got supervisor, assistant supervisor, line leader. So he's the thing. So when a line leader comes back home, he's the head of the family. So he's the Ishvara for the house. You understand? Okay, he's the Ishvara for the house. He come back, right? He tell why the slipper is there, why this thing there. That means he's the controller of the house. So he's the Ishvara. So Ishvara means simply controller. Okay. Each of them is a controller, but one is controlled by another. Of course, one is controlled by another. Okay, that means what? As I said, a line leader is controlled by a supervisor. A supervisor is controlled by assistant manager. Assistant manager is controlled by the manager. And he's controlled by general manager. And he's controlled by director. And director is controlled by executive director. And executive director is controlled by the CEO. And the CEO is controlled by the chairman. So like that, there's a line of duty. And the chairman is controlled by his wife. Anyway, just joking. All right, he goes back. He's got them. Some more other people are controlled by someone. All right. Anyway, I shouldn't crack the joke here. Anyway, so in Brahma Samhita, it is said that Krishna is the supreme controller. That means Brahma Samhita says that Krishna is the supreme controller. Ishvara Parama Krishna. Ishvara means controller. Parama means supreme. Parama means supreme. So the supreme controller is Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna. All right. There are many controllers undoubtedly, both in the material and spiritual world. But Krishna is the supreme controller. Ishvara Parama Krishna. And his body is Satchit Ananda. Satchit Ananda, which is also called non-material. What is Satchit? Sach means eternal. Chit means full of knowledge. Ananda means beautiful. But do you know that even you also are Satchidananda? You also have that Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Once you go back home, back to Godhead, you will take that form. You are just as blissful. Your body will be blissful, full of knowledge and eternal, like Krishna. Of course, Krishna is vast and we are minute, right? But here in this material world, because we shadow, everything is not Satchidananda. It's not eternal. It's not full of knowledge. I don't know what is happening in my body also sometimes, right? Sometimes you're wondering what is happening. Suddenly you go check or something. You don't know the body is not, and Ananda is not a beautiful form. Maybe the beauty is maybe while you're young, or maybe for some time. As we get older, everything becomes, all the skin all becomes saggy and everything is dropping. So It's not this thing, all right? Okay. So, right, just now as I said that the CEO is controlled by the wife. Okay. Likewise, when you see in one of the Leela, Krishna is controlled by Radharani. The supreme controller Krishna, Ishvara Parama Krishna, is controlled by Mother Radharani, who is the Ladini Shakti. Even Krishna is under the spell of Ladini Shakti. Can you imagine? And Krishna always wonder, what do I have that Radha likes me so much? What actually? I want to know. Why is she so excited with me? And that's when he took the golden form of Radharani and the male form of Krishna. He came in Kali Yuga as Gauranga, Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Anyway, okay, so again we are going out of the topic. Anyway, so material body cannot perform the wonderful acts. Okay, material body cannot perform this kind of wonderful acts described in previous verse. His body is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. That means Krishna's body. Although he is not a common man, the foolish deride him and consider him to be a man. His body is called here Manusim. That means because he is acting like a man, Manusya, right? A friend of Arjuna, a politician involved in battle of Kurukshetra. In so many ways, he's acting just like an ordinary man. But actually, his body is Sachidananda Vigraha, eternal bliss and knowledge of absolute. In this, it is confirmed in the Vedic language also. Sachidananda Rupaya Krishnaya. I offer my obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, who is eternal. That means eternal means Sat. Okay, blissful, Ananda. Who is a eternal, blissful form of knowledge. Knowledge is, Chit. Okay, Ananda means beautiful, right? So that means who is the eternal, blissful form of knowledge. It's mentioned in Gopala Uttapani Upanishad. There are other descriptions in the Vedic language also. Tam ekam govindam. You are Govinda, the pleasure of the senses and the cows. That means what? What do you mean? The pleasure of the this thing, senses and cows. That's why you see that how much Krishna gives preference to the cow. That means just imagine those people who eat beef, how unfortunate or how much ignorant they are in, because such a horrendous sin, right? Because go means what go means. All right, when you see Govinda, what is go means? Go means senses and cows. Senses and cows are called go, right? My senses is called go, and the cow you call go mother, right? Okay, and Vinda means the one who gives pleasure, who make sure that cows and the senses are in pleasure. So that's why we call Govinda. All right, the one who gives pleasure to the senses and the cows. So now, Sachidananda Vigraham, and your form is transcendental, full of knowledge, bliss, and eternity. Is also mentioned in Gopala Tapani Upanishad 1.38. Chapter 1, text 38. Despite the transcendental quality of the Lord Krishna's body, it's full of bliss and knowledge. There are many so-called scholars and commentators. Who? So-called scholars and commentators of Bhagavad Gita. What does it mean? Right? Even there's a Krishna, so much of transcendental body, even when you look at the translation, even logically also you understand. Mama, ma, okay, me. All right, all these things is very, very, very common. Even they twist and turn with their what they call explaining what they call the translation, right? This thing. So so-called scholars and commentators, right? They would think they are scholars, but they actually mudas, foolish, right? Who derides Krishna as an ordinary man, right? Like they say, the person inside Krishna is talking to person inside Arjuna, right? So that means you say Paramatma and Jivatma. That means the body only outside Krishna, but inside Paramatma, inside Krishna is talking to inside this thing. And so in Kurukshetra war, what they do? They're going to kill things inside. Don't understand. Anyway, who derides Krishna as an ordinary man. The scholar may be born. The scholar may be born as an extraordinary man due to his previous good work, but his conception of Sri Krishna is due to poor fund of knowledge. Always Prabhupada like to use this word fun, F-U-N-D. That means you don't have enough knowledge, fun. Like I don't have enough fun in my account. Okay, I got poor fund. Okay, how much money do you have? Oh, I got little fund. I don't know how am I going to do. So fund. So that means it's a poor fund of knowledge. That means the knowledge that he has acquired is not enough. That's why with this half past 6 knowledge, they like to comment. Therefore, it's called Muda. In Tamil, mutal, right? Mutta. And only for Muda, that means for only foolish person consider Krishna to be an ordinary human being, right? Or only foolish people. The foolish consider Krishna as an ordinary human being because they do not know the confidential activity. They do not know the confidential activities. That means what? They are not enough knowledge. They didn't study enough. Why they didn't study enough? Because they have not approached a spiritual master, or they have not approached a devotee to learn from them, right? Huh? If a person is sick, can he go and talk to his neighbor who is a farmer, right? If I'm having some kind of a problem in my body, I cannot go and ask any Tom, Dick, and Harry, I'm having some kind of throat pain now. Oh yeah, did you cough? Did the blood come? Oh, I think I can be this. No, I can be. Can we? When these kind of jokers will tell you, will you listen? So we have to go and look for the authorized person. You have to go and look for a ENT doctor and get his or his opinion, his or her opinion, because she's the expert in that field. Similarly, when we want to learn something about Bhagavad Gita, the best person to approach is the devotee, right? Not some kind of what they call indiscriminate, what they call some kind of foolish people who like to, like, sometimes they see that some make Bhagavad Gita as a motivational quote, right? The wisdom of Bhagavad Gita. What did you bring and what did you? So what is that wisdom? So there's so much of manipulation, and who manipulates? The one who don't understand. All right. Okay. Anyway, because they do not know the confidential activity of the Supreme Lord and his different energies. He got varieties of energy, and one of the energy we can talk about what? Internal, external, marginal. All right. I think we discussed that many times. Huh? Internal, external, and marginal. Okay. They do not know that Krishna's body is a symbol of complete knowledge and bliss. Sachidananda Vigraha. All right. Complete knowledge and bliss. And he is the proprietor of everything. Mahesh Ishvara. Right? Isha Vashyam. Yes. Ishvara. Isha Vashyam Idam Sarvam. Right? In Ishopanishad. Om Purnamada. I think the first verse 1. Yes. Upanishad, Ishopanishad, verse 1. Isha Vashyam Idam Sarvam. Everything, everything belongs to Krishna. Right? And that he can award liberation to anyone. That he also can award liberation to anyone, because they do not know that Krishna has so many transcendental qualifications. So they deride him. Because what? They do not know. So by a person say, I do not know, means it's not an excuse at all. Even a child who doesn't know that fire will burn the hand, even if you touch the fire, it burns. Right? Some people ask, it's not fair. How come Krishna is not going around telling God? Right? Why Krishna is not going around doing this? Right? Why Krishna is not doing going around and advising people that this is Krishna as a supreme person, and you are living in a very mundane, temporary place. This place doesn't exist. This place is only a shadow. Why can't he do that? So that's why Krishna have spoke about this and gave to that parampara. And under this Brahma Madhava Gaudiya parampara, or when you look at this Sri Vaishnava, Sri Vaishnava parampara, then Rudra parampara, or this what do you call another one is what Kumara Sambradaya. And they've given to the parampara, and this parampara is the one that we supposed to go and take knowledge. Example, when the COVID pandemic is out, right? The government did not give the what they call the vaccine to anyone. They didn't come into every house and drop the vaccine. Inject yourself. No. There is vaccine invented, created, tested, and what they did, they gave to the Ministry of Science. So what did the Ministry of Science did? The Ministry of Science assigned, because they know that the Ministry of Health is extremely worked out. They are so busy, they are so worked out. It's almost impossible for them to handle it. So they gave to the Ministry of Science, and through the Ministry of Science, and what they did, they promoted the thing and says, please come and take your vaccination. And they gave to all the clinics to go and take your vaccination, and all the clinics and everything. But then what happened? Some anti-vax is there. Some people criticize. Out of million fleur, 1 or 2 fleur died. It make a big havoc. You know, these kind of things. So even though that vaccine saves life, but there are many anti-vax groups who do not accept it. I'm just giving a mundane example, right? Just give a mundane example, right? So it's like that. So that means, in other words, so that means Krishna have given it to the authorized person, which is the Guru Parampara, and it's our duty. So that means, in other words, when we want to learn something, we have to go and approach that person and try to learn from him, right? That's what Krishna says, approach, approach my devotee, surrender unto him, and do some seva. I mean, he can impart the knowledge unto you because he have seen the truth. All right. So it's like, okay, anyway. So now do they know that appearance of the Supreme Person of Godhead in this material world is a manifestation of the internal energy. So that means when he appeared in this material world, is the manifestation of internal energy. Hladini Shakti. That means his internal energy from him. That means his own desire, he became in the form, original form as Krishna. Right? Okay. And how about other avatars? Like Parashuram, Lord Buddha, what do you call Ramachandra? All these are Purusha avatar. Expansion of his expansion. Okay. I remember that we say from Krishna, Balaram, Mahasankarsana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, then again another Sankarsana, and from there came Narayana, then from Karna, Narayana, who lives in Tarana ocean. Then from there, Mahavishnu, and from there he came into Garbhodakshayi, Garbhodakshayi, right? He entered into every bubble, Garbhodakshayi, and from Garbhodakshayi, he expanded further as Kishirodakshayi. In this material world, he lives in the place called Sweta Dvip. All right, even it's a Vaikuntha in this material world, say Sweta Dvip, and all that incarnation come from Kishirodakshayi Vishnu, Purusha avatar. So it's like, all right. So that is all expansion from his expansion. But here, Krishna, he came into this material world from his internal energy. He came in his original form. That's why when he came, Brahma couldn't recognize him. When we study in Bhagavad, right? You see, who's this boy so intelligent, he takes everything and hide it. And next day he came, he see that all those people he kidnapped, it's just in front of him. He'll be wondering, who are these people? And that's when he realized, oh, this is the Narayana who's supposed to take form. Then he came. I say, are you the spiritual? I said, so sorry, my dear Lord. All the while you come in 400 form. All the while I can recognize you because you're my father. I born from your lotus, from your navel. You know, Brahma born from his navel of Vishnu. I can recognize, but now I couldn't recognize you. You are totally different. Right? And that's why Krishna. That's why he said, I am the original form. He's internal energy. Okay, anyway. He's the master of material energy. He has been explained in several places. Mama Maya Duratyaya. He claims that the material energy, although very powerful, is under his control. Mama means me. Maya Duratyaya. That means I am controller. And whoever surrenders unto him can get out. Now, and whoever surrenders unto him. How do we surrender? Just like when a policeman point the gun to you. Hands up, you surrender. All right? You can be the biggest martial art fighter, you can be you can be the biggest don, you can be the big time gangster, whatever. Even you can be the very influencer, most powerful person on earth. But when a policeman or whoever it is point the gun at you, you just need to raise your hand up. That's it. Surrender. You don't think who you are. I am this, I am that. No, nothing, all that, nothing. It's just like war. When this party fighting with another party, when this party losing, when that party point the gun, is he surrender? He need to raise his hand. Maybe he might have taken a vow. I will fight till my last breath. My mother nation, my motherland, I will never let go. All right. And by the time he leaves the house, he might have tell the wife, I am going. If I come in a coffin, do not cry. Salute that your husband laid his life for the sake of the country. All this kind of philosophy, all they talk. Once they go there, they point the gun at you. What you should do? Surrender. Surrender. Fully surrender. So when he surrender, he don't have all this kind of motivation, all this kind of ego says that I am the greatest warrior. I fight for my motherland. Okay. Putih tulang, jangan putih mata. All these kind of things. So when we surrender, that's how we surrender. And that fella won't shoot at you. He will take you. Of course, he'll send you to the prison of POW, prison of war. But he will take care of you. He give you food. He give you 4 or 5 meals a day. He takes care of you. So like that. That is what surrender is all about. Not simply tell Krishna, Krishna, I surrender to you. No, not that way. Surrender means you are surrendering your false ego, your intelligence, your mind, whatever things, you just simply surrender to Krishna. After you surrender to Krishna, what you should do next? Depend on him. Once you surrender to your opposite army, all right, then you start to depend on him. When he decide to give you breakfast at 6 o'clock in the morning, you just simply eat it. Or if he just don't feel like giving you breakfast, he give you lunch at 12 o'clock, you just simply, you are depending, you depend. That's what Krishna says, depend. Right? Because we are his dependents. Right? We were depending with him all this while. And Krishna took care of us very nicely. But suddenly when we feel like being an Ishvara, we want to be a controller. How nice if some people, that Krishna created a dungeon and let you stay there and enjoy your life as much as you want. Millions of birth in 8.4 million species of life, right? In varieties of billions and trillions of expanded life, right? So that means he says, and whoever surrenders unto him. So of course, now how are we going to surrender to him? Because we can't see him, right? I think, oh, Krishna, I mean, how to surrender to him? Just in your mind. My dear Krishna, I do not know the way to surrender unto your lotus feet, but I want to surrender to you. Show me the way. Show me the way that I can surrender to you, right? I'm still agitated with some with material senses. I still have desire for intoxication, if you have, or desire for meat eating, if you have, or desire for illicit sex, if you have, or desire for gambling, if you have, right? I just don't know how to give it up. I just surrender to you. From now onwards, you take care of me. That's the thing. So when someone asked Prabhupada, how long does it take for a person to go back home, back to Godhead? He said, at an instant, that second that is the person surrenders to Krishna, is liberated. All right. So like that. Okay. So anyway, can get out of the control of this material energy. If the soul surrendered to Krishna, and if the soul surrendered to Krishna can get out of the influence of material energy, then how can the Supreme Lord, who conducts the creation, maintenance, annihilation of the whole cosmic nature, have to have the material body like this? Okay, it says here, when we simply surrender to Krishna, we can get liberated on the spot. All right. And okay, that means surrender can get out of the influence of material energy. That means we can come out from this. How can that Supreme Lord have this material body? So this conception of Krishna is complete foolishness. So that means the people out there, they are extremely foolish, right? Foolish person, however, cannot conceive the personality of God. They cannot agree. They cannot conceive. They cannot like digest the idea. Appearing just like an ordinary man, can be the contour of the atoms and the gigantic manifestation of the universal form. The biggest and minutest are beyond their conception, right? So they cannot imagine that a form like that human being can simultaneously contract the infinite and the minute, can create the infinite and the minute. Actually, although he's controlling the infinite and the finite, he is apart from this manifestation. Even though that is controlling, he's still apart. It is clearly stated concerning his yogam aishwaram. Is conceivable, is inconceivable transcendental energy, that he can control the infinite and the finite simultaneously. Finite, infinite, and finite. Yeah, I think my spelling is okay. Infinite, infinite, and infinite and finite simultaneously, and that he remain aloof from them. Although the foolish cannot imagine how Krishna, who appears just like a human being, can control the infinite and the finite. Those who are pure devotee accept this. And for they know that Krishna is the supreme personality of God. Therefore, they completely surrender unto him and engage in Krishna consciousness, devotional service of the Lord. Okay. Any questions so far? Right. Okay, there are many controversies between the impersonalists and personalists. Okay, what is impersonalist and what is personalist? Impersonalist means those who believe that God has no form. Okay, they feel that God is formless. Okay, impersonalist, they feel that God has no form, and the personalist believes God has form. All right, about the Lord's appearance as a human being. But if we consult Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, the authoritative text for understanding the signs of Krishna, okay, then we can understand that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is not an ordinary man, although he appeared in the earth as an ordinary human. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, first chapter, when the sages headed by Shaunaka inquired about activities of Krishna, they said, Kritavan kila karmani saha ramena keshava ati martyani bhagavan guddha tapata manushaha. Lord Sri Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead, along with Balaram, played like a human being, and so he performed many superhuman acts. Okay, it's in Canto 1, Chapter 1, Text 20. The Lord appearance as a man bewilders the foolish. No human being could perform the wonderful act that Krishna performed while he was present in this earth. Okay, when Krishna appeared before his father and mother, Vasudeva and Devaki, he appeared with 4 hands. First, he appeared with 4 hands. But after the prayer of the parents, he transformed himself into the ordinary child. As stated in Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 3, Text 46, Babuva Prakrita Shishuhu. So became just like an ordinary child. So he became just like an ordinary child, an ordinary human being. Now, here again, it is indicated that Lord's appearance is an ordinary human being. It's one of the features of the transcendental body. In the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, also it is stated that Arjuna prayed to see Krishna's form of 4 hands. Teneva rupena chatur bhujena. Chatur means 4. Bhujena. After revealing this form, Krishna, when petitioned by Arjuna, that means at that time Arjuna get worried. All right. Again, assume his original human-like form, Manusham Rupam. Okay. These different features of the Supreme Lord are certainly not those of one ordinary human being. All right. So, okay, last 2 paragraphs. Okay, some of those who deride Krishna and who are infected with the Mayavadi philosophy quote the following verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. I mean, those who are deride Krishna, who are infected with Mayavadi philosophy, quote the following verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Text 29, Chapter 29, Text 21. He says, to prove that Krishna is just an ordinary man. Aham sarvesu bhutesu bhutatma vastita sada. So he says the Supreme is present in every living entity. We should better take note of this particular verse from Vaishnava Acharya. So we should always take note this particular verse from Vaishnava Acharya. That means when you want to understand this, you have to go and approach a devotee. All right. It says like Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Instead of following interpretation of an unauthorized person who deride Krishna. Okay. So that means we shouldn't look for them. Okay. Jiva Goswami commenting on this verse, Jiva Goswami says that Krishna, in his plenary expansion as Paramatma, is situated in the moving and the non-moving entities as a supersoul. All right. He is situated in the moving and non-moving entities as the supersoul. So any neophyte devotee who simply gives attention to Archamurti or the form of the Supreme Lord in the temple and does not respect other living entities is useless. So that means, so any neophyte devotee who simply gives attention to Archamurti, that means the deity in the temple, the form of Supreme Lord in the temple, and does not respect other living entities. Okay, it does not respect other living entities. He is uselessly worshipping the form of the Lord in the temple. Okay, because you must understand the form of Krishna is Krishna, but in everyone heart there is Krishna. You go to temple, you just, oh, Krishna, but God, you don't respect everybody. It's still useless. There are 3 kinds of devotees of the Lord. There are 3 kinds. Okay, it's explained very vividly in what they call Nectar of Devotion. All right. And he says the neophyte is the lowest stage. Neophyte. The neophyte devotee gives more attention to the deity, to the temple than other devotees. Right? Yeah, I need to take photo of this. 1 second. Huh? But this is supposed to be my presentation tonight. All right. Okay. So any neophyte devotee can simply give his attention to Archamurti, the form of Supreme Lord in the temple, and does not respect other living entities. He is uselessly worshipping the form of the Lord in the temple. There are three kinds of devotee of the Lord, and the neophyte is the lowest. All right. The neophyte devotee gives more attention. That means the neophyte is the one who gives more attention to the deity in the temple than other devotees, than other devotees. That means when they come to temple, they worship, oh God, Krishna, and you look at the other devotee, hey, you come here. They don't respect the devotees. They are the neophytes. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur wants that this sort of mentality should be corrected. Right? He didn't say to be avoided, because this is a character that you need to be corrected, not to be avoided. Okay. A devotee should see that because Krishna is present in everyone's head as Paramatma, everybody is the embodiment of the temple of the Supreme Lord. So, as one offers respect to the temple of the Lord, he should similarly properly respect each and every body in which the Paramatma dwells. Everyone should therefore be given proper respect and should not be neglected. Okay. There are many impersonalists who deride temple worship. That means there's many impersonalists who say, nonsense, worshipping idol. Let's break the idol. Nonsense, because the God is for no form, right? They always deride. So they say that since God is everywhere, why should one restrict himself to the temple worship? Yes or not? Logic or not? God is everywhere. Why must go to temple? But if God is everywhere, is not okay. But if God is everywhere, is he not in the temple as the deity? Since God is everywhere, why can't be in the temple as a deity? Yes. Although the personalities and impersonalities will fight with one another perpetually. A perfect devotee in Krishna consciousness knows that although Krishna is the supreme personality, is all pervading as confirmed in Brahma Sanghita. All right. Although his personal abode is Goloka Vrindavan, he is always staying there. By his different manifestation of energy, by his plenary expression, he is present everywhere in all parts of the material and spiritual creation. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed the class. Any question? Next week will be very nice verse. Mogasa moga karmano moga jnana vichetasa rakshashim asurim chaiva prakritim mohinim strita. Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demoniac and atheistic view. In that deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and the culture of knowledge are all defeated. So after that, now Krishna start to give a lot of examples. All right. So anyway, Bhagavad Gita ki jai. So any questions? Any comment? Anyone? Was the class too heavy today?
No,
Okay.
Prabhu. Nice.
All
Thank
right.
you. Great Krishna.
All right. Okay. If there's no question, all right. We'll meet again next Thursday. Tuesday, I will try to replace that Bhagavatam. All right. I will see what is the date, maybe the weekends or what. Okay. So till then, have a nice day. Vancha kalpatrubhyascha krupasindhubhyevacha paritanam pavanebhyo vishnebhyo namo namo. All right. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Good night.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.